Rewind it again. Men win again. Men work together. Are we good to it? Are we hitting?
Gosh. Ish.
You know, there was one person who said, never read the comments.
We're live, by the way, so this is going to be part of the thing. This is what I was saying about being formal. You're going to have to let it go.
No,
is.
I read the comments. Yeah, some will sting, you know. Some don't, I think. I think you learn with time, especially like depending on the platform and how vulnerable you were in your own personal life. You know, if I'm talking about my challenges with my family and then people still beat on that, then iba buhlungu. But if you're just talking generally about dynamics of the world, mese wena uzongijaja.
You know when comments hurt when you read one, you're like, oh, that's their opinion, and then they start stacking up. Which, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was sure that, no, I was right.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, no, you're wrong.
You're better.
You're wrong. Nompumelelo Ndlovu, ukatsheni. Okay, we're starting today. I'm going to give like a backstory.
Okay.
It's a personal one.
Okay.
I hate giving Penson backstories or personal stories because he gets teary-eyed.
No.
I think it must be the nails.
Tissues.
Okay. Sengiqalile.
Ufuna Vaseline? Tissue. Uthe ufuna?
Okay.
Ufuna Vaseline?
Okay. Sengiqalile.
Ngingakufaka Vaseline.
Ngi-right.
Awungigcobisa umlomo.
Hayi, ngigcobisa uVaseline.
Usabani? Yini oyisabayo ngoVaseline?
Angisabi lutho.
Noma uhamba esikontereni.
Sengivula ukuthi uVaseline awugcotshwa. Awugcotshwa uVaseline.
Ubani wathi uVaseline awugcotshwa? No comment.
No comment. I
makes you dirty. Everyone was like, whoa.
Scave dust da.
Unosisi wathini unosisi?
Uthi
like
uqhubisa. Ngabe ngathi akusho ukuthi dusty lo sisi lona ngoba phela
Did you see someone tagged you on a video that was talking about it?
Damn.
I didn't see that. Yeah. Ngifuna ukuba involved in the politics engekho.
Hi guys, welcome to Dope Conversations. Today I'm joined by Penson Mlotshwa and Lelo N. They've been here before, so I'm not even going to go into that type of... outside of that, thank you so much for the support. We appreciate all your comments, the good and the bad and the ugly. And I think you guys are enjoying the chats. We're enjoying the chats. We love your suggestions. We'd love to get sponsors, please. So if anyone can sponsor this platform so that we don't have to struggle with whatever we struggle with in terms of budget, we can get going. Backstory, and you guys can jump in as and when you want.
Sure.
I've been putting in a lot of work in my life because I realized at some point that we inherited the way we are, delela, or being too nice, or whatever the case may be. And especially, I think when you become a father, I'll speak for myself, it gives you a lot of perspective and you introspect. Am I the best man? Am I? And then you become a father again with omunye usisi. And then you introspect, and then mesek fika omunye usisi. And you're like, ayibo. And then people start calling you out that, look, there's something wrong with you. And you're like, maybe, maybe not. And I've been putting in a lot of work, in particular regarding being a father to my kids and trying to be the best father I can be in trying to not be like my father, or at least Penson's father. Because my father was great.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Penson's father was horrible. So when he was being great, Penwell's dad. Awu baba ka Penwell. When he was being a bit of a clown, awu baba ka Penson. But in doing that work, I realized there's a lot of what Penson and I have spoken about before, generational curses and spiritual warfare, which is this idea that there are a lot of inherited behaviors that we have. Now, while I'm working on myself, there are mothers of my kids that I don't think are aware of their shortcomings and where they are falling short. So I'll make an example, not about our father, but Mina no Lelo have a child. Our relationship falls apart. Whatever. I'm 27, she's 24. Our relationship falls apart. She's like, fuck you, I hate you, you cheated on me, we're breaking up. I realized, look, I was cheating you bad like my father. I try, unlike my father, to not be an absent dad because the next guy runs away. He leaves the child in you. But now when I look at you, you have a single mom. And that's all you know. So when I'm trying to come closer and be a present dad, you push me away because you've got your own work you haven't worked through. To put it simply, I find that a lot of us have got internal work we're meant to be doing. But now when we meet each other, when we date, one of you is doing in work, putting in work, the next person's not. To a point where I'd like to think, I'll use an example of one child. There's a child of mine I'm not seeing. And when I look at the mother, I feel like she's repeating the cycle of her mother. And I don't even think she's aware of it. So I don't know if you guys have any opinion on even the whole concept of generational curses, spiritual warfare, putting in work while your partner's not even trying, and then getting stuck. By the way, for this episode, the plan is to have you guys on screen throughout.
Is it?
So
throughout it?
Why? Serious, we're taking notes so we can listen first to what you say.
Are you directing the question to someone?
No, it's not a question. It's just a topic on the table. This idea that all of us are work in progress, but for other people you are a work and there's no progress.
I was watching this reel where this guy was talking about. He was saying, you see this lady, if you had asked her if she's well-mannered, she's respectful, she'd say yes. Not understanding, Guti, she's never had any external auditing. I don't know if that makes sense.
No one has ever criticized her.
No one has ever criticized her, or even when guys maybe approaching her, they're just approaching her because they want as an example. So they'll lie and say whatever. Oh my God, Vele, you're so nice. Oh, you saw this, you saw this, you saw this. So she never has a true understanding or reflection on who she is. We were speaking about comments made on the previous episode earlier. And it's not Tuguti, I do a deep dive and I take all the comments personally. I don't. But it is some sort of mirror on how others that may not know me receive me.
Sure.
You know, so in some way it is some feedback or some external audit, you know, because I think a lot of times we'll put something out there and then we don't want to hear the negative comments. And we don't want to. No, the people that know you will see you in a certain way. And then people that don't know you will also see you in a specific way. And you need to be aware of how you present yourself to the world. So when you're saying, abanyo sis or banyo puto, whatever the case is, they have no idea what's happening. They find umuntu onugumlomo, akazazi. And what's worse, umuntu onugumlomo yena. Ayi abantu ho, bakhuluma them and ufuna ukufaka amagama ano H. Hi. Halitosis. They're not aware, you know. So I think it's one of those things where when you're speaking about generational curses, when you're speaking about umlotshwa, like you spoke about, I think with people like him and many like there's no voice, external voice that knows you, that doesn't know you, that's green, that's blue, that comes and says, hey, I don't think the combinations that you addressed didn't work.
Sure.
I don't think you were speaking about negative comments stacking up.
Yeah.
Okay, sharp, someone will say something negative about my hair or my nails, whatever. It's one thing for one person to say it. When it's 100 people, back to back with zero positive, I now need to say, okay, pause. This is what's being said. Let me actually now process if what they are saying has any merit. I'm not saying I must do it. I'm just saying now I need to actually process. You know, if you are talking about a specific lady, you're a single mom, there's no male influence in your life, your mom, your aunt, your granny, there's no male influence anywhere, it gets to a point where you need to sit down and say, maybe my guy was crap, you know, the father of Mike G, maybe he's absolute crap. But my mom's person, my aunt's person, my grandmother's person, all these 100 of females with zero male, maybe I've put myself, as you had said last week, in an environment that is not conducive for true audits or reflection or an external voice. Because now it's just a sounding board or sound chamber, if I'm making sense.
Yeah, you are. But, you know, it's very difficult to use your example.
Sure.
Because obviously, I mean, you have multiple relationships where you have children and you're not with those women. You know, so it's kind of hard to use that example. when talking about generational curses. But I had a conversation with my mother about what is deemed as a generational curse and who decides that it's a generational curse. Because what could be a generational curse for someone else could be a blessing for somebody. So it's an individual thing. But now we tend to make it a society thing to decide what's a curse and what's not. Like, for example, for someone's family where the great-grandmother got children, they never got married. Then the grandma got children, they never got married. Then the mother, it's also viewed as a curse. So it's different. So maybe those females that you were with and yourself each have a role to play. It's like when you have two individuals who are in a relationship, they both have their own what's perceived as a generational curse or a curse or whatever you want to call it, and it's up to those two people to actually sit down and say, okay, let's talk about it. What do you bring to the table? What's your traumas or things that hurt you or things that built you, and let me talk about mine. And then we also help each other navigate that, because it's no one's responsibility in the relationship. For example, like, it's not your responsibility to fix me. A relationship shouldn't be a fix me, and vice versa. But we should help each other grow and deal with those so-called curses.
Who's meant to have the knowledge? Some of us is kuluma because we've been jollering for a while. But to say things like, let's unpack, let's talk, because I can only imagine there are going to be people watching this and they're like, I didn't know I have to do this for the first time. So I'm asking, where would people start with this process? Do you go to therapy?
Therapy, it's one of the...
Do you go to therapy?
No.
Why not?
I don't see the need to go to therapy
right.
for myself. I'm sure it's different for everybody.
Sure.
So someone else might see therapy, someone else might see therapy. Maybe it is therapy. Someone else must see therapy as talking to a friend, because you need to talk to somebody.
Sure.
Someone else might see therapy as talking to their partner who actually listens and hears them and is very subjective in the type of feedback that they give to them, So maybe essentially we all go to therapy, depending on who, because therapy is sitting down, talking to someone about what you're feeling internally. And
do you speak to anyone?
Yes, I do.
You want to share? Not necessarily who you speak to, but I've got a friend or a family member and I unpack his into Zami.
I'm not even afraid. I speak to V.
Okay.
Yes, my best friend. I speak to her about almost everything. She's my safety deposit box. So if you wanted...
your secret?
Yes, I tell her everything.
But why V? Is it not because she supports the way you are? No. Right?
You know what? V and I are total opposites. We can be on a phone call for 4 hours.
Sure.
And we disagree a lot. We never agree. I think we agree maybe 40% of the time. The thing is, we respect each other.
Sure.
She respects my opinion. I respect her opinion. So the key here is to know that we're all going to have different opinions. We're all going to have, different views about life, about relationship, about whatever. But the key is to learn from each other. Because after that phone call, even though maybe I didn't agree on a certain thing that she said, like he said, then I go back and I say, okay, but maybe there is something to learn from this conversation. Maybe I do that, and start being aware of it, and vice versa. And then we'll come back and say, remember the day when you said 1, 2, 3, I realized that that's actually what I do, or I tried it, or whatever. So...
But you have to buy into it. That's the other problem. Before you change, whatever V says, you have to buy into it. Otherwise, angeke ushintshe. I asked this in the context because people go to therapy and they assume that therapists know better because bafundile and all these things. So if the therapist says there's something wrong with you, you take that as a fact and then you start putting in the work if you're willing. If my brother tells me, your nails, why you pending zipo? You're like, no, you're not going to fucking tell me. Until one day he sits down and says maybe. But if a therapist tells him, maybe you look into it. It's like, oh, you've got childhood trauma. That's why you're painting your nails. You wish you were a girl. Or your mom treated you like a girl.
But it's important to filter information, You can say a lot of things. I might not agree with 80%, but there might be like that 5% when I filtered the conversation that I would say, Penson here was right.
Sure.
Or Penwell here was right. So it's important. It's like when you go to, a lecture. Sometimes you'll listen to the lecturer giving you all this information. You filter what you want to hear, what you want to listen to, and you take that and you turn it into a positive in your life.
Yeah. I want you to come in, Penson, but
sorry.
before you do, I wanted to ask, if you can, when you're answering, when you're speaking, you speak about comments, and let's say 100 comments say the same thing. But now these 100 people come from the same group of Otaki
Ne?
that have been, or that claim. It's like, I make a video about money. This is what I think you should do, what. And then I get negative comments. And all the people speaking, they broke. But I'm meant to take that as, but everyone's told you that stop doing this. And you're like, but all of them are struggling.
Yeah, and you start realizing it's almost like the same type of people that consume podcasts.
Sure.
You know, so whoever's consuming this, chances are they're also consuming Hustler's Corner and they're consuming Podcast and Chill. So their mindsets tend
Similar?
to shift a little, and they start thinking the same. So you
Or they
also need-
influence each other.
Like
Yes.
bots.
So you need to be very cognitive of the thinking, you know.
Cognizant.
Cognizant, thank you, of the thinking that's there. You know, the same people that watch Umkosi platforms tend to watch a lot of the Umkosi stuff. So you also need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you are reading the comments. But you said something very as a throwaway comment. You're speaking about childhood trauma.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a Canadian psychologist who, I wrote his name down, Gabor, I don't know how to pronounce it, Mater.
Yeah, I think I've seen him on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Ikehla ilidala.
Ikehla ilidala, yeah, he's 18.
Kapor something.
Yeah, Gabor Mata or something. But
Sure.
And he speaks about childhood trauma. Because you brought up a topic around being cursed, for example. People call it a curse. My great-grandmother didn't have a husband. My grandmother never had a husband. And some might see it as a generational curse, or some might talk in terms of a trauma response, like a learned thing.
Yeah.
You know, Tina like we can be matriarch, we can be independent, we don't need to lean on the stereotypical man. You know, so I saw my mother do it, and her mother do it, and her mother do it. So it's a learned behavior, you know. So it's not necessarily good. We see it as a curse. We see it good like us in Zaganj.
But then what's the difference between a curse and learned behavior?
That's the thing, hey. And I actually
Isn't that a curse in itself?
I wanted to actually ask that question, Guti. What is the difference between a generational curse versus a learned behavior or a trauma response?
If you were to give it a shot, what did you say?
So the way that I view the generational thing is I'm looking at it from a biological point. You know, so generational curse is that so
Abantu abanjani? Every week, bro, without fail, you want to be cancelled.
Eh?
Every week without fail. Abantu abanjani?
angisakwazi ukusho phela.
Some
Ngizama ama comment. Laba khona ama parallel grammar type.
Yini amakroko kroko?
I can't believe.
Yini amakroko kroko? Yini amakroko kroko?
Amakroko akubona abantu.
What's amakroko kroko?
Is that not the female soccer team? Is not the female soccer team?
The female soccer team.
Eh?
It's the Paralympic team. Soccer
And you're
team.
wrong.
No, I'm just asking. We've got I said we've got the Paralympics.
Embali mfethu ani edit mfethu lento. Angifuna ukuthi bengenele boy ngizamile mfethu ngize ngibhala ama notes boy. Bazothi ukuthi mina abantu besifazana ngibaboni.
No, they must cancel you. I've been saying that you're a bit of a. I think I'm a crocos the Paralympians. But this word is gone. It's gone now, right? We don't use it anymore because
what do we use?
The
now?
Paralympians have been winning medals. Fit. They actually play.
Yeah, but croco
no one is saying I'm a croco.
But we weren't meant to use it in a negative way.
I understand.
Because even if you
so I was trying to help you. To be like, you speak about I'm a croco, but maybe that term doesn't jump anymore.
I remember when you go and you visit like little kids in the classroom now, they have reading circles and they group them based on their reading strengths. So teachers think that by naming Lengane slow, like something cool, like the T-Rexes or something, and then like the ones that are very strong, like something lame, like the orange circle. Ugh, orange, you know, the T-Rexes, the Porsche, the Yabon. Ingane ziyabona nje ukuthi why ama T-Rex sengathi sislow la.
So I'm on Google.
Ama T-Rex ada. Hey,
I'm on Google and it says
eh?
Divert.
Ngidivert. Vela kunendaba labo sibadlala ibhola bazini.
Eh? This guy, this is not a safe space.
No, I've spoken about this many times and we've debated this.
If you've spoken about it, means it's fine.
I figure azofika amajita identifyayo. Pelenya.
Ama croco. is a nickname for the South African Paralympic team. And I see someone put on Twitter 3 years ago that they used to be called Amakroko Kroko, which means the broken thing. So I'm guessing that the name is gone.
Is that what it means?
Basically.
Amakroko Kroko put name debate on
I
hold.
also feel like
This was
that was
back in
very
96.
disrespectful.
Oh, wow.
Proper
Okay. So we
measures.
shouldn't be saying that.
No,
I wouldn't want to be named
I
that.
wouldn't want to be named.
You know,
So-
even disabled became
Yeah,
politically incorrect. No, not disabled, crippled. Sorry.
And disabled.
I think disabled
Yeah,
is,
because it's
is
now,
used now.
No, it's not. It's
You get a
it's-
disability grant,
Yeah,
which
but
means
they-
disabled
they-
is fine.
They call it. What do they call it? Something
Differently abled.
Yeah, something like that.
But there's a disability grant, which means you must be
Yeah,
disabled. Crippled, I think, is the word that was bad. Sorry, you were saying, let's say biologically, your family.
I went to a Korean shop and I saw kaffir leaves. I was like, what the hell are they selling here?
Kaffir leaves.
Kaffir leaves.
Do you know,
I was
you know when people say kaffir means non-believer? Come on, it's not even a bad
I was
word.
like,
It means
"Il
non-believer.
I was like, Ibo guys. I was like, hey, ching chong o shinchela.
There's a Kafrerian High in the Eastern Cape.
Yes.
It's a school. Kuba and a point like
So I would look at a generational curse more from a biological point.
I told you, Kafrerian High in Queenstown.
Funamakavula lapho.
Kono mama in the room. I wanted to say this other name of
I-
a place in the Eastern Cape. That's what Zuma tried to. But I can't. Kono mama in the room. Yazi endaweni enkhuluma.
Yeah, hey, that's
She's reading
guy.
a book.
Aye.
Do you know the place I'm talking?
Oh, I don't know.
I want to say that.
No, don't say it.
When
don't
are
say
they
it.
changing this name? Hey,
know.
South Africa. They change all the names. Ex-KHS girl. I go to KHS.
KHS.
Kafrerian.
So
Sorry,
anyway,
you're in a Korean
And
shop.
what's the majority of the students there, black or white?
I'm guessing they're black.
to me,
King Williamstown.
generational
I'm guessing
curse
they're black.
to me is a biological thing, whereas the trauma would be a learned behavior, having seen it in your environment. This is how we behave, so it becomes then nature versus nurture. And I see the generational curse as a
No, man.
nature.
When people speak about a generational curse, they don't speak biology. Like, there is an imfishane. It's a
No,
generational
I
curse.
hear
They
you.
speak
You are asking
Nami,
me,
I'm broke.
Yes, you are asking me in the sense of how do I view it.
Sure.
Ne? So again, ugba broke. People can see it differently. Some people can see it ekasi broke. You use the word of some people have a broken mentality. Sometimes gini jila cognitively ni broken gini. Uline wonke,
Yeah,
uyi kroko
kroko,
la.
yeah.
Therefore ni broke because la biologically
Nama kroko kroko.
ni krokile la.
Mele nihambe nyama Paralympians.
Yabo. So sometimes it is a learned behavior. Ekaya, there is this. And sometimes Ekaya, we just can't process cognitively ways. We're not aware to find
That's
opportunity.
not fair, though.
It's true.
But why?
There's-
There's
why
different
is it-
nationalities that are better equipped in certain things than others. If we can adjust and say, well, biologically, I can see ukuthi
Lelongene.
kubo. Why can't we say ukuthi nakubo?
Lelongene.
No, I just wanted to ask a simple question. Like, why is it that you, like, whenever somebody talks about generational curse, it's always about poverty?
So that's the biggest one, I think, for black people in particular. Because black people believe money can solve all problems. And those of us who've been exposed to some money and been exposed to other races that have money, you realize, hey, they have their own problems, these people. There was a point I wanted to make on what Penson was saying. Sivele yahamba.
Why ungaphethi bhala notes?
No, I'm not going to do that. I came here to chat and not to be in a lecture. White people, back in the day, used to not quantify black people as human. They said we are closer to animal.
Yeah.
And scientifically, this was in textbooks where they were teaching kids that Africans are 3/5 human. So yabo nje ukuthi khona abantu that just they not okay upstairs. That's where we start getting to prejudice. Ukuthi people like this, I think biologically, valid, they're meant to be poor because of.
Yeah, well, I think that conversation should be a conversation that we have. That smartness, whatever, because now it's going to go back to how do we define who's smart, who's dumb, who's what. How do we define it? How do we use IQ, and what does IQ mean? What are the standard IQ tests to? Because if we look at that on average, one thing we know is that white people on average in this country have a higher IQ based on their tests, by the way, versus black people. So again,
Where's the black people test?
Where's
Thank
the
you.
player? Oh, what?
Jiva.
how do we define what's a
That's
blessing and what's a
that's
curse?
100% what I'm trying to go to. Uguti, so again, Mina, I believe Uguti, if we can all agree that there's physical markers that I can see that are within your family line, I also can then deduce based off that Uguti, there's things that I can't see that's also within your family line.
Like mawucabile, it means,
Uguti mhlambe wakwaZuma noma
and you dropped out in grade 4.
yabona kini nje ukuthi la anikho. Yabo.
Mawucabile.
Awu la. Hayi.
Ubona physical ukuthi
Hayi, cognitive.
mawupenda ubuso
Hayi ngadlala ngaso. Hayi.
Mawupenda ubuso gqoka iwigi.
Lo ufuna nje ngichancelishe lo. Ngiyambona ufunani?
Mawupenda inzipho.
Hayi, ngaso.
As a O.
Hayi, ushuthi une trauma. I'm trying to say is that we need to agree ukuthi if there are physical differences that we can see, there are also internal differences that we can't see. That you've got from your mom, from her mom, whatever the case is. Maybe your drive, your ambition, whatever the things that non-tangibles, you say, well, it runs in the family, and it might not just be purely a learned behavior. If you had an identical twin that they took and they put in Korea, she would have just been as ambitious and as driven and as motivated to become successful. Because it's who she is. And it's not just that learnt. That's what I was trying to
ask Lelo, when you say we normally speak about it in money, were you asking that question because you have a different view? Or would you like to explore why people generally say we're cursed because that's not mali?
Yeah.
And how to maybe even fix that?
Yeah, because, I'm a very solution-orientated person.
Sure.
And I think, like I said in the beginning, what one might view as a generational curse might be a blessing to someone else. And the reason why I ask is, why do most people, because majority of people, when you say generational curse, they automatically think of poverty, education, that opportunities that they, weren't able to access because of their family background or whatnot, But then somebody else as well who is born into a family that's privileged might also see that as a curse, because now they are under, tight scrutiny, because they have to live up to the legacy of the family. But if you had to sit there and you come from a privileged family and you tell somebody who comes from a underprivileged family that you feel like it's a curse for you, they would curse at you even. Why would you feel like that's a privilege? So it's all about how you then, when you move forward, like now, we're grown now, we're having these conversations, as uncomfortable as they are, to try and find solution on how do you deal and how do you define what's a blessing and what is a curse.
Do you think black people are cursed?
No, I don't think so. I just think that we tend to follow.
Follow what?
Societal norms.
Are they not white norms, which means we should be like white people?
Not really. I'm not sure, but we tend to follow societal norms a lot because A is doing 1, 2, 3.
Sure.
And the louder and the more A does it and the more A showcases it, and, then everybody else, it's like dominoes.
You don't think black people are cursed? Honestly speaking, generationally. Now we're speaking all the way in slavery, apartheid. Namanja, black people in the Congo are being butchered. Black people are still poor in this country. You don't think black people as a whole are cursed?
I'm not going to say that, but I will say that I think most black people, I'm not saying all of them, they like to play the blame game.
Is that not a curse in itself, that I'm addicted to being a victim?
Could be.
Would you say black people are cursed? And if you were to say yes, would you say it's biological?
I think...
No, sorry, it's a real question.
No.
Who chopped my finger? Who chopped my finger?
Don't
Except, no, I think you spoke about external things that you can see. Which speak to I'm writing what you were saying. So I'm asking, Guti, do you think black people are cursed? And in that question, I was also going to ask Guti, do you think some of it is external? Because we're starting to see the rise of mixed-raced kids. Trevor Noah, Drake, Sasha Feinberg, Mgomezulu, Shoma Josie. They look like they're winning, boy.
They winning.
You look at the extended family members who are there on the 3/5 human. and they seem to have that curse.
Yeah.
Ngapha bona ngathi bayaphuma, you know, from the
Yeah.
struggle, and they're moving towards some type of.
Look, the person going to be cursed. I need to be using the yardstick yomlung. So if that is the goal,
But are you confirming that?
yes,
That
that's
every
what
time we define a generational curse,
yeah, we have
it's
to.
on a
talking
white
about-
measure and a Western measure.
So I remember having this debate with a really good friend of mine around what power, success, development, industrialization, and I was saying, Wuti, power is defined by violence. Ultimately, the reason why Abelungu came and dominated us is not because they were so much smarter and they spoke well and they could play dice. It's because they shot us and killed us. You know, it's the same thing that happened in America. It's not like they were negotiating with the Red Indians. You know, so in this game, you know, we have to be. It's the owner of the ball that dictates the rules. You know, it's the person esimsaba playground the bully who dictates ukuthi this is what success looks like, this is what failure looks like, and if you don't play within this rule, he'll punch you in the face. You know, and none of us want to get punched in the face. So based on his rules, yes, we cursed because we can't measure to the people that are winning in his game. We can't.
Why can black people not be like white people and win?
Because we're not. It's you can try and imitate as best as you want, but you'll never be that. You know I made a joke, tongue in cheek, about the trans movement or whatever the case is. If the average sister in this country who is 165, whatever her height is, if she wanted to come and compete in male sport, you know, let's take rugby or whatever the case is, she's still going to be the average sister who's 165 and wears a size 4 shoe, competing with people who are 185, 50 kgs heavier and wear size 10. So there's certain things that you can't fight. She can try,
Okay.
but she'll never be as good as those people who are naturally that.
I'm scared of where you're going, but okay.
You can't, because if we are trying to imitate whiteness, if that's what we're trying to do, you're not going to be as good as the original. It's their game, Lungelo.
Does that make them superior?
No, if that's the game we're playing, in their game. If,
No, I hear
if
you,
the
but
game,
aren't you
if-
making the analogy
if,
of
if
male
the game,
and female?
If the game is amavosho,
Sure.
jiva, then black people are superior in that space. If
Black
that's
people
the
are
game.
superior.
in the
ngevosho.
entertainment space,
Yeah,
black people are superior.
if that is the game we are
So
playing.
our IQ test is ichigamachiga.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's
mostly.
whatever. Let's talk about, in America they use entertainment, and they say within that space, entertainment, whether it's basketball or it's music, the black Americans then dominate that space. And if that is the game we are playing, then they will win. And if it's the game that we are playing is maths, then we tend to give it to the Asians. You know, so again, it's all dependent on the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And the people who are winning will become superior. And if we are moving more and more to a Western type of game,
Yeah.
oh, then Shawangoteni.
Can I go personal for both of you?
Yeah,
Are you sure you're not going to catch feelings?
I'm gonna catch feelings.
depends.
You want to catch feelings?
I'm an emotional guy.
It's the nails and that fucking ugly nose ring that you have as well.
How you have a nose ring now?
Uyibona manje?
Upgraded.
Njengoba ukhuluma ngama-transgender,
Yeah.
transgender,
Yimi
uyi-transformer
mdlana.
himself.
Next thing we're gonna see
Namabele,
condoms.
namangcenge, uyabona amangcenge.
Sekayibhampela.
Next thing we'll see condoms.
Yamkhumbula ubholo egwajisa uFan Dam. Wamgwajisa ngengcenge.
I want to go personal. I hope you guys don't catch feelings.
Yeah.
So we've spoken generally, I think, about this thing. I want to go back to the topic of generational curse versus generational curse, specifically in the partner setting. And I gave my little experience, and it wasn't extensive. God is good, these Njolo streets and seeing flames. When Lelo, last week you said you're not sure if you're in a relationship or not. But I'll ask this. You are in a relationship?
Define relationship.
Hi, boo.
Define relationship.
Okay. Let me. Okay. Let's try and do.
So I can know what's ngivuma ini. What am I agreeing or disagreeing to?
Do I want to go that personal?
Qala ngami.
You wanna catch feelings?
Qala ngami kodwa
No,
No,
I-
you've
but
been
it's-
speaking too
it's-
much.
Yes, I just want to know what is
Okay,
relationship.
let's start here. I'm going personal because I want to play therapist
Okay.
and try and diagnose any curses you guys might have
Okay.
that I see in myself and the women I've been with.
Okay.
Were your parents happily married and together in the same household?
Yeah.
Does the same apply to your siblings? Are you happily married in one household with your partner?
I'm not married.
Your parents were happily married in one household.
100%, yes.
So that's something natural for you.
Yes.
You're
be.
dating now? You're planning to get married?
I'm not planning to get married. I don't know. I'm not. Let me just
Where
say
did it-
that's
where did
not
it go
my
wrong?
focus.
For you?
It didn't go. Nothing
Because
went wrong.
your parents set a good benchmark.
Yes, but the thing is, you're saying my parents set a good benchmark because you are referring to the marriage that they had
And them
their
being together,
children.
yeah.
But who is to say that was the benchmark?
Is it not?
No.
According to you?
No.
Why not?
You know,
Please feel free. Khuleka nje. However you feel.
No. You know, I don't think my dad passed away at a very young age. So
Yeah.
even though they were together and they had us in marriage or whatever, I didn't see much of it. You know, because he left.
Do you think that could have affected you?
I think maybe.
So when we speak, not necessarily generational curse, but maybe like a trauma, that your parents were happily married together, but you didn't get the privilege of watching that in front of you. So are we joyele leyo nto?
I think maybe you know, if we can go personal now and not care about the external. My mother never remarried.
Okay.
After losing my dad. So I think maybe that is my trauma. You know, she never remarried after losing my dad. She was more focused on her children. You know, and now as I grew, now my focus was because I've watched this woman go through all of that where she never had a partner.
And she was
but
strong.
She was strong, you know what I mean? So I think maybe that is my curse.
And that's what you want. That's what you are now. A strong woman without
Mm-hmm.
a man by her side, because that's what you saw.
Okay.
Even though it maybe wasn't your mom's reality at some point,
Mm-hmm.
but that's all you saw, Kula. A strong single mother.
Maybe if you put it in, I saw as in you don't really need.
Indoda.
Yes, because and how I'm defining this is not saying that nobody said you don't need a man.
Yeah.
I saw her doing what most households that had both a father figure and a mother figure do alone. So it made my shaped my my mentality different, that you can actually do it alone.
Have you
Because-
struggled in relationships? Have you found yourself making your partners feel like, I don't really need you, and maybe that's one of the reasons why you're single?
No. Actually,
Why
total
are you
opposite.
why are you single?
Am I single? That's the question.
We're back here. What is a relationship?
What is
Let us define.
what is
Let us
on this
define
guy?
what is a relationship
What is on
first.
this guy?
Okay, let me hit to Penson. Oh,
But
chest pains
You
already.
didn't
you know-
define. I really want to know. Like,
No,
from-
maybe please define relationships for you.
No. I actually want to hear it from you guys. What is relationships for you? Because, you know,
So you might be in a relationship, depending on the definition.
maybe I might be, and I'm not sure. So I want to know
Damn.
what
in
is
a relationship with one person.
It probably would be if I would be in that relationship.
Oh, okay. Right. All
So
right.
what is relationship?
Hayi wasingiyadefine nangu umuntu sibuza umbuzo. Nangu umuntu if I define.
No, she asked both of us.
Iyaqala ke phela ngoba wena uqala umbuzo.
My understanding of a relationship is that you meet someone, you guys like each other, and you spend time together, and you're intimate. By intimate, I'm not talking sex only. You kiss. If you do gay things like Penson, you hold hands. You go to the movies. People identify that person as your partner.
Okay.
Yeah. So that becomes a relationship for me.
Okay.
And you guys can define it. You're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend, and gaziwa. There's no confusion. There's no, hey, are we in a relationship, or
We're not sure.
are we having a good time, or are we just people?
Situationship. Siyatshontshana.
Asazi ukuthi senzani mhlawumbe.
Abantu bayatshontshana la ngaphandle.
Yogo, relationship, before I ask you?
My definition.
No, Lelo has to confirm
ulungelo-
whether she's in a relationship or not.
So for me, it is your partner. For me, of the opposite sex, gender. For some people, bazokhetha nabo bazoyibona. But yeah, it's a person that you can be intimate with, not just again sexually, but a person that you can share your thoughts, your ideas, someone that you want to build and grow with, you know.
Or you want to.
Yeah, you want to. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my idea.
I was raised believing for myself that being in a relationship is being married without the formal. It's one of the reasons I've struggled in my relationships, because if we've chosen each other, we're together, we're pushing life. But then you leave and I'm like, how? And then you're like, well, I don't have a ring on this finger. It's not like we're married.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so nje ububambi tempo. Whereas I'm here. I don't need the ring and kokilobolo and all these things. I'm here for you. Spushy life. If ushota ngemali school fees and I've got it.
Nice.
If you need to learn how to drive a car and get a driving license, I've got you. If we're making a baby and we both agree, let's make a baby. But then kusasa young chigela and you're like, well, it's not like we're married. So that hurt me. So my understanding of relationship was shadile. That's why I'm like, people know that nangu muntu wako. You don't have to be married first and the families don't have to meet first, but nangu muntu wako niphilisana naye.
I think we're so lost in this generation. That's why we're not rooted in anything. So there's that constant battle between the traditions of the ring on the finger versus pushumcholo, verse. You know, where you spoke about the Islamic faith, we are connects, sashata.
Sure.
You know, and
there's straight courtship with the intention of marriage now.
And that marriage now is rooted in faith and religion. You know, so there's no ukuthi when ngicabanga lokhu mina ngicabanga lokhu abakini bayibona kanjena thina bakamlotshwa shada. There's none of that. You know, this is what the Quran tells us on how the man and woman need to be united, blah 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 blah.
But do you think the generation now is more free?
No.
Yes.
I think okay. Yeah, if free is more options. If free
no, free just means you can move as you want.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But I think in that, just to add on, in that freedom, I think we are worse off.
Yeah, we're suffering more.
I think we are suffering more with the freedom and the options that we have.
Okay.
It's like being a child in the streets. When you're at home, your parents melu figure in
There's
5.
rules, yeah.
You've got a home, you've got food. To a hambia stratin. You're
And
free,
fend for yourself.
but
You're
now
free.
fending for yourself
Yeah.
is tough.
You know.
Sir.
Lamachitati, I need to define relationship. I'm not sure if you asked.
Jeez.
Yes,
Or
I
they're
asked.
setting me up.
We've got to siyabulela ncanca in the dark.
Are these guys setting
no
me
art-
up? Yeah.
no
Are
arty
these
Mona.
guys setting me up? Yeah.
Atu no mona. Ati mona in the back. Siyabulela ncanca. And then
They're
umamzandi
scared
as well.
to define relationship. But
By the way, happy belated birthday to umamzandi. Sia, hit us with your definition of umcho. Hey, Usia's got a book. You must pay for this, by the way. Just plug. Sia's got a book before you get married on
Banjun
Take a
Kun's
Lot.
up.
Please go check it out.
Is
before you
Sia
get
the
married.
gentleman that's just about to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the dark there. I see voices from the wilderness.
Yeah. So a relationship, it's a connection or association, right? So there's different types of relationships. So you can have a relationship, we can have a personal relationship, right? With a partner or a friend, and as well we can have a relationship like partnership in terms of entities. It's also a relationship, right?
Business.
Okay. And also you can have also a relationship with colleagues at work. You know, it's not really personal, but it's because you guys are working together, you're sharing the same space. So I'm not sure if you guys were talking about personal relationship,
Romantic.
specifically
Awukho sure baba
umjolo.
ulalele.
Sikhuluma ngomjolo.
Umjolo. Ne?
Akalalele noma ufuna ukuzenza umuntu ofundile.
Ufundile.
Don't interrupt, please. I really want to
Sorry, Sia, please continue.
So
sir.
now,
My bad.
if you're talking about the relationship yomjolo, so between, I don't want to be controversial, between a man and a woman, because that's all I know.
Opposite sexes.
That's
yes.
been controversial.
Yeah, it's a
Hey, I need to be very careful here.
With all due respect, a man and a woman. I'm sorry if anyone's offended.
And I think that's the problem, because as soon as you involve, it's like whenever there's I always shied away, and I think I've said this to you from relationship talk, because people are just,
Offend abantu.
people are just sensitive. My
And
thoughts.
futhi uyafundana wena.
Yeah, so
Futhi
my
offended,
thoughts-
nami ngiba offended.
No,
Nami
there's someone who
angofenda,
said to me,
wena.
I say it like it is, it's just that I'm
Angofenda.
not timing.
Sorry, Sia, please continue.
So a relationship between a man and a woman. So I've always had, for me, I always had issues with the way we go about the relationship between a man and a woman, right? And my issues are that I think we do not lay a proper foundation when you start a relationship with anyone. And I think it's probably that is because of our background, or we're not being taught properly what a relationship is and how you need to approach it, etc. But there is a problem. So when you start dating, for example, in this day and age, when a guy starts dating a girl, right, finds a very good girl, and this girl, like, she's very respectful towards him, and. But first 2 days, the guy wants to impress, wants now to, throw money at this guy. But you know that your resources are limited, right? And at some point, this money is going to go away. And maybe your timing is that I'm going to smash. After smashing, then, even if the resources are gone, then now if the girl becomes an animal, wait. If a girl now becomes an animal, now you start blaming to say, this girl was good, but now all of a sudden, but you also changed, right? So from the beginning, you have to be a realist, right? Be real from the beginning. Hey, this is who I am. And I know it's tough, right? This is who I am. This is what I'm about. I like you. And I think we can build something together, right? And then you move on. And by the way, I think you need to put it on the table. By the way, if you're looking for a guy that Ozok Beja, every weekend I need to go buy you savannas and pop champagne and whatever. Ice trope. I'm not that guy. I won't be able to do that. However, I'm the guy that I would like, because I see potential in you. I'm the guy that I would like to build with you. I want you to help me to build. I would like to help you to build. So that we can have this thing, build this thing together. So I think we need to do that from the beginning. But we don't do it. And then later on we blame.
Yeah, but we're lying to each other. We're all saying, we're not going to do it. We all lie.
No, but I'm saying that's why, especially within the black community, our generation, from what I see, my experience, the relationships are failing, because imagine if you are trying to start a business, and it's with the business of just empty promises, how long will that business last before everything just...
Job interviews. People lie in job interviews.
Okay, sure. But again, the promises of a relationship and the lies are way more extreme than I think in jobs. Because in job, there's at least a CV, and I can call you reference. So even if Masio Chole,
that's powerful.
It's going to at least be better than just in share.
People lie on CVs.
No, I'm saying...
People lie on CVs.
Yes, people lie on CVs, but I'm saying it becomes less a lie. It becomes less of a lie.
Because you can get fired.
This is those things. I think Usia touched something that triggered me. This is those things where people speak about when you meet someone. And look, we're speaking idealistically because none of us do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. The idea of submitting like bank statements and your qualifications to a potential partner.
Yeah,
which sounds ridiculous. It's like, if you take me seriously...
ridiculous because now, let's say you're submitting your bank statements and whatever CVs to that potential partner, and 2-3 weeks down the line, you find that that's not the person you want to be submitting your personal details to. Which means now, I'm going to be going around submitting my personal details to every Tom, Dick, and
Not necessarily. But again, let's go back to the
job
thing.
You submit, but in to chola.
No. Like he says, from the beginning, Melu submitted some sort of
so you submit.
CV.
You're saying it doesn't work.
Just lay it all on the table from the get-go. Which means, what I'm saying is, and I need you to respond to it, is that if I'm with Tom this week, and I'm feeling like Tom and I can have a conversation, submit a CV to Tom. Tom does the same. 2 weeks later, I realize Tom is not the one. Now I go to the next, let's say, for example, you move on to the next person.
Dick.
Yes, Tom, Dick, and Harry. Dick,
and Dick is the one.
And then that happens again, and then Harry as well. So which means that Mina, I'm going to be going around.
But that's where the reference comes in. Because I want to know, who were you with before? I was with Tom for 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's why we're comparing it to the job thing.
Because
you're committing. That's why you're bringing the things.
But do you know that you become a different person with every relationship that you're in?
That's true.
So why would you want to go to an ex to find out who? Like, why would I want to go to your ex to find out
I don't need to ask your ex.
Yes.
I don't need to ask your ex.
Okay.
Where I'm trying to go with this is that people will always lie.
Okay.
Ne? When I go buy a car, the car dealership guy might lie and say this car has only had 2 owners.
Yeah.
Right? But the lie will always, from my experiences, be within reason.
Okay.
If they say 2 owners, maybe they might have 3 or 4 owners. If they say it's okay, the car is about 150,000 Ks. Maybe it's between 150 and 180. It's very rare, from my experience, where the guy who's a salesperson is going to say, this car has 0 mileage and has had 1 owner. Meanwhile, 200,000 with 50 different owners. So I'm just saying, once you as Usisi have the job specs and requirements. I get to look before I even submit my CV to you. I get to look and you say you're looking for a guy this age, you're looking for a guy this financial space, you're looking for a guy with maybe one child max. You're looking for, and I look and I go, hey, I'm out. I don't even need to apply my CV so that I don't need to lie to you. Lapho ngifika nengane zami eziyi-100 when you said ukuthi ufuna umchitha that earns 10 billion rand a day, mina ngihola 50 rand. I don't even need to, because then you don't have to adjust your standards, your goals for what you want. You know, if I'm very close, you know, maybe I hit the first 5 and maybe I have 2 kids instead of the 1 max, maybe I can try out my CV and maybe you can adjust a little bit. But if I'm way far, why am I even wasting each other's time?
So now Sia, right, says that relationships are about connections. So now the moment we do that, it's no longer a connection, it's a
No.
partnership.
It's the first part. That's why I go for an interview. So just the first part of you putting your CV is just, do you meet the bare requirements? So I put that out there, 20 people apply. Now, of the 20, 5 meet the bare requirements. Then when I do the interview, I'm trying to find out, do our personalities align?
This is what Tinder was for,
You know,
right?
yeah, like it's
Submit your profile, swipe. If we swipe and
Yes.
connect,
Scroll
then we go on a
around, yeah.
coffee date to assess
Yeah.
if we want the
you
same
know,
thing.
am I what's best for you, or you what's best for me? You know, I realize then I'm out. I
Ubani
think,
utshela uLelo?
no.
Or
Usisi.
CC in general. ULelo yena?
Eh?
ULelo
Yeah.
yena? Uthini?
Thandi drama, Penson.
What?
Sengiyabaleka.
Are you out?
Oh,
out,
Thank
yeah.
you very much. Please travel
Thanks, bro.
safely.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you.
for coming through.
Good to see you.
Sure, bro. Ngithi mina,
I still
I'm-
want uLelo to answer the
Yes.
question.
So I was going Guti, if I can, and I'm going to use the Muslim community, and ngempela azi, I actually don't know a lot. I just know a little bit from what I hear from some of my friends. Uguti, even within them, you know, when, let's say, not Guti, there's arranged marriages, but when the families speak, they say, Guti, that family is not within our financial space. Lawyer, that family can't date this family. Aslingani. So already there's some sort of criteria financially. Guti, when a Yukon come in from the streets, njengo Aladdin, and come and think ukuthi ukwazi ukuthatha
Jasmine.
Jasmine angeke akuhlangana, you know, tholi jini phakame boy uvuke, then we can talk, you know. So those type of things ukuthi even within then in those spaces there's some sort of, obviously, you know, we're making it very formal, we're talking hypothetically as well, but I think
And we're lying.
and we're lying,
Because
yeah,
we're
but-
not gonna do it.
So I'm saying Guti, but it 100% will
help.
decrease or help the situation when usisi uCV usubhalile ukuthi even eqambamanga ethi 50 body count, lapho yena she knows that she's been with 100 ngiyalinganisa ebhala u50, mina lapho ngiyazi ukuthi hayi mina application yami ithe lo 5 etshitshilo, mina ngifuna u0, yabona.
Yeah.
So already
Of which 0 could be 2.
u0 could be
But
2,
you can play around with
but
it.
I can play around with that, ne? But lona already uqamba manga by saying 50 because uku100,
But it's already
but it's
out.
already too far out.
Lelo, are you in a relationship? This is why we went on a deviation. We've given you
I
3
could be.
definitions.
I
Could be. It's personal.
Huh?
I could be.
Tana, you don't want to share.
I've got 10 minutes. I want to hit you before we shut down.
I haven't answered
Yeah.
the question though. The one
What's
that you
the
asked
question?
The one that you asked to Ulelo
About?
about relationships and her view on them.
Are you talking about me interrogating your life?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm doing now.
Oh, my bad.
Inkinga yakho uthanda ungiphaphela.
Ngiyapha.
Na inkinga yakho.
Eish, ngiyaxolisa.
Your parents married, living in one household. That's what you got to see. And are you married, happily living in one household?
No, so I think it's well documented that our parents' situation was very different, a bit rough.
Different from what?
From what we saw on TV.
Oh,
Different
okay.
from
Do you
what
think
we
you're
saw.
supposed to be married with someone that you're going to have children with?
Yeah.
Then why are both of you not married to the woman that you have children with?
Yeah, I'll unpack that. So we saw very different from what we saw on TV or our idea of what we thought.
But what did we see on TV? We saw Rich and Brooke and Taylor constantly
Yeah, but-
marrying, breaking up.
Within
marrying,
the same
breaking up,
family.
within the same family.
So, for example, the movies that I watched, maybe Ipold was one thing,
Yeah.
but the movies were always happy ever after. You know,
Okay.
the man and the woman got married, they had kids. You know,
Snow White,
Snow
Cinderella,
White, Home Alone,
Sleeping
it's
Beauty.
this guy who stays at home, they married, have kids. So
My
the
Wife
movies
and
that we were
Kids.
watching, all the movies that we were watching was always just happy ever after, from the Popeye to the whatever, happy ever after. So that's the narrative that's out there. So Ulrich no Brooke are doing something off from what we know. Yeah, but wrong one, you know, and you are seeing what you deeming is different from the world being mom, dad,
Ungamuvi
kids.
isandla kakhulu mfethu uvale camera yami. Keep
Oh.
your ugly nails
Why
closer to
why
yourself.
wena camera too?
Don't worry about that.
Wesiya why nama camera too lo?
You've got 1 minute left to answer. Thank you.
Ayikho
Wrap it
ifela.
up.
Ayikho ifela. So with that being said, I think my brother and I have both really tried to mirror that.
Ngangifaki mina.
Oh, mina ke.
What have you tried to mirror?
That umjolo. Phela kade sijola sihluleka.
Hey, ungangifaki.
Kade ngijola
Thank you.
ngihluleka. You know, and you are trying to ultimately be a character or an avatar on what you've seen, but that's not who you are. You know, you forget when you are a grouping of all your experiences, good, bad, and everything in between. So when it's easy for you to think what you're doing that can completely wrong. No, Sissy on the other side. Yeah, now she's also has her expectations. In her mind, she has her idea of what a husband looks like, her idea of what a father of her kids looks like, her idea of what marriage looks like. And it's not you, bro. It's not you, bro. You know, so you're trying to fit her mold while trying to play this character in this imagination that doesn't work. And I think for me, I then started making mistakes over mistakes over mistakes over mistakes. And it only took me so long for me to realize, Guti, I actually can't be that white guy on these movies, you know, that lives happily ever after. I actually can't be him on that screen or him on that screen or him on that screen or him on that screen. I can only be me through all my experiences, good, bad, and everything in between. I don't have that Home Alone money to have a white picket fence and a mansion. I don't have money to my wife had stayed home and she must bake and we must. I don't have that. I need to be more realistic. She might be earning double what I earn. Already that throws a span in the works. You know, she might be more verbal. She might be smarter. She might be more. All these things are not the mold that was created. And you start realizing, there's a battle externally, and then most importantly is a battle internally, because you can't match to that.
Did you end relationships?
No, I didn't end relationships.
None of them.
No.
But you know, it's so funny.
There's a reason I'm asking. Sorry, Lelo.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe you committed to the first girl you dated and she let you down because she inherited this thing of freedom of, I'm not going to be like my mom. Otherwise, ngabe kade washada.
No, so
But wasn't
it's
he
so
married?
so so it's not that. Man,
Wasn't he married?
Man, hayi bongakhuluma into zami ngizoyikhulumela ngithi.
Okay.
So,
Weren't you married?
hayi
But I'm
bo.
asking you a question. There was once where.
Hey,
Can I finish? Can
there was once what?
I finish my point? Hey guys, mina kanti personal la. Kanti khoya ngami ngempela noma sikhuluma hypothetical me.
Hypothetical.
Hayi bo, hypothetical me mana kancane.
Are you Vusi or are you VT, the brand?
I'm VT the brand. Cishe ngathi ngamele ngisho. Hey. Anyway.
Carry on.
Now I lost my train of thought. So you are asking about committing to the first person, ne?
I want to say this because this is part of my issue. I'm gonna try and answer Ulelo because we don't have much time, and I apologize that we steal your time.
Yeah, I want to wrap up to this. Yeah.
No, go for it.
No, but just I want to answer your question and then I want to move to the point that I'm saying because I'd written some certain things down.
The reason I was asking is because I did a lot of work by myself to try and figure out where I went wrong. Our father had multiple girlfriends at different times and lots of kids. So people will be like, oh, you're just like your father. And it's easy to be like, I am. But then the deeper dive is to find out why my father was the way he was. One of the things with my father is that my mom committed to him her whole life. He was the one that was living his best life somewhere else. Now, in my situation, maybe being like my father, I've tried to commit to women, but our generation of women don't play those games of Team Begazela. They leave. So now when they leave, you as the guy take the blame. And look, you could have cheated. That lots of men cheat. Some of these perfect men that are with their wives for 40 years, they cheat, but it's normally the woman who stays. Now our generation of women leave. So you'll end up with a lot of exes and maybe kids, not because you left the woman, but because she left you.
Can
But
I
then you
continue
look
jumping
bad.
in? Because you had asked about
Sure.
So Mina, I'm very blessed with the boy's mom. Very, very smart, powerful queen. One of the things that I think was very attractive initially was how independent she was. Very self-reliant. So when you speak about what
Like your mother.
Exactly. So when you speak about what you saw at home, good say, yes, I see other families with a mom and a dad, but my mom can do both of those roles by herself. So like, it's not like I'm anti-men, but I realize that I'm self-reliant. I really don't need one. So when you see a trait that you saw positive as a child growing up in your mother, you're like, this is a self-reliant woman. You know, great, very well-spoken, very smart. You are attracted to that, you know. So then you have kids and all these beautiful things. And then you realize, but there's the other side of being self-reliant, you know. It's actually self-reliant. You know, and emotionally, mentally, financially. I'm talking from my side. You know, I told her she's screaming, but I needed you.
Yes.
You know, but I can't pick that up. You know, because you're so self-reliant. You know, when you want to go do your nails, you just go do your nails. You pay, you come back. I would say 50 rand. Nothing.
I think it's also a lack of communication between the opposite sexes. Because I think most of the time women tend to keep things, bottle things up.
Yeah.
You know, I tend, as a woman, most women, we tend to feel like I shouldn't be asking you. You should automatically.
You should know.
Okay.
You must be mind
you
readers.
know? You know, I do my nails all the time. You should know it's time to do my nails. You know, I do 1, 2, 3.
So now maybe my mother was communicated what she wants. Now I'm with you, and you now to maybe a level your energy is. I should then pick it up and then do, you know. So we miss each other. And on top of that, you also are self-reliant and independent, you know, with certain things. So what tends to happen is that we start separating slowly but surely with time. You know, you add kids, you know what becomes your priority? The kids. You know, you said your mom made the kids a priority. So again, there's even more of not a need of a man. And you see it becomes an us. For me, it became them and me, you know. They look perfectly happy. They look So now
The mother of your kids and the kids.
yeah, they looked from the outside because I'm looking
Kind of like your father and
yes,
our mom and
yes,
us.
like
we look
like
good on
we
our
look
own.
on our own. We fine, bro. We don't need you. You know, we don't. Yeah, okay, sharp. If I come through with a Malva pudding or Inando's, it's great. It's exciting, but it's not like. To me, this is what it felt like. So there's that rift that happens, you know. And on top of that, you add all the mistakes that I'm doing. You know, Papa, and living my best life. That's obviously going to make it even worse, you know. So going back to the partner thing, the space that I'm in now, I'm like, I mean, I need a partner to breed, you know. And I was very vocal, Guti. You had said something, Guti, the way that you view things, that you may not need your partner as a therapist or something like that. I'm like, my partner must be my therapist. You know,
Isn't that overcompensating?
It's overcorrecting, né? It's overcorrecting, but it's a realization of what I need, and now she must communicate what she needs. I was watching a podcast where there was Lebo Keusa, whatever.
Kwesa.
Yeah, she was talking.
Lebo?
Yeah, I watched it
Kwesa.
too. Yes.
Yes.
The
And she was talking about
Swa, Ulebu.
yes,
I know
and she was
her.
talking about
Kwesa.
Uletoya.
Your ex-wife, yeah, Letoya.
Yeah, Letoya.
My
And
kid.
she was speaking about Uguti. She made Uletoya her project.
Yeah.
And she did everything, and she was telling her
That's
underwear and what. Sharp. I don't even look at it like that. I actually agree with her. You know, you don't have to be like.
Sorry, my kene.
Yeah,
That's why my kene.
you don't have to
Lebo
live
Kesa.
and breed, but you if like a business, you know, I'm looking at it like that. So Uguti, my job is to point to your cup as best as I can. I want that to be operative, best as I can. I need to pour as best as I can, financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever the case may be. And I think you need to do the same for me. You know, I'm not saying Guti, I know better than every therapist, but I need to be that ear as best as I can. And if you want to vent as best as I can, where I can't, that's where your best friend steps in, or your therapist, whatever the case may be. But I need to be that. You need to be my project, and I need to be your project. And I need to make sure that when I look at Lelo, I want Lelo to be the best fucking version of her that she can be, and I'm going to assist as best as I can. Let's also hold on to that, and I think you should do the same. So when I wake up in the morning, my job is to pour into her, and her job is to pour into me. And that's what I'm seeing in a relationship. And I realized, Uguti, yes, this woman has been in relationships, and I'm not too sure if I poured into Losisi spiritually. Not too sure if I poured psychologically. I didn't even know her favorite this. Did I really take interest? Did I try? You know, did they even care? Did they come and watch my rugby game? Did I vocalize that that I need you?
I'm giving you
Be
two
there.
minutes to
You know,
close there.
Yeah, basically.
No, Ngisho, to close everything. The last thing you have to say.
So I need you to come, and so that when I'm done playing this game, when I look up in the stands, I need to see your face. It gives me that motivation. So going back to the communication, I've realized that, and that's why I'm seeing the partner. Because it's so imperative. Because sibe together in this business and sibegezele, like starting a new business. First year, couple of years, kuzoba nzima, and so wasivuke, but asibegezele sobabili. You be part of Team Begezela, I be part of Team Begezela. Angithi sikhethene mos.
Yeah.
Angithi you chose me. Nami ngikhethe wena. Okay, sure. Asiqhubekeke with this thing, push as best as I can. So that's my view on relationships.
We never have enough times.
You know, I don't know. I think maybe I'll just stick to the relationship topic. I'm not a relationship guru or anything like that. I don't have that much experience in that field of.
We don't have much experience in what?
In that field.
In dating?
No, I don't. I have never been married, so I can't speak for married people or speak in partnerships or whatever. I can only speak from, the little experience that I have.
Little?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, little wabantu awufani, but yes.
Little wabantu awufani, ne?
Please continue.
Hey.
Your little can be.
Mina little mncane. Little abanye, hey.
But I just wanted to say, when you're talking about this generational curses, and when you're having these type of conversations and you have 3 people in a room, sometimes what this one person is saying, like talking about filtering information, and the other is saying it's sort of like a light bulb to you. That, oh my gosh, maybe this is what's happening to me or something like that. So it's very important to have these conversations and be in rooms where people have different perceptions. They see things, they view things differently. They've had different experiences in whatever topic that you're discussing. Because, one person might say, because my mom was more of an independent person and I saw that, this house had mom and dad, and they had 1, 2, 3. We had just mom, and we had it all together.
Yeah.
And versus, you might think that that's how now I go on and view life. But in actual fact, for me, I viewed it as a blessing because I then said to myself, then I'm going to turn it around. You know what I mean? And why I'm saying that is that she made her kids her priority. Me, I said, I'm going to live my life, because, I feel like there's a lot of things that she should have done, for herself. Maybe seeing her children succeed and flourish, maybe that's what, fulfills her heart and makes her happy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking out of context and I'm speaking for her.
Yeah.
And then also in relationships with me, what I can say, maybe it's maybe something that I need to look into is the CV thing that he says, Mina, once promises are being broken, are not being kept, and it's something that happens not once, not twice, for me, I start stepping back immediately. So
do you communicate that, or you just do it yourself?
I do. I'm a very communicative person if I'm in a relationship.
Okay.
And maybe sometimes I even thought maybe I communicate too much. Maybe this person will think, maybe I'm too muscular or something like that. But to be quite honest, I'm a very different person in a relationship. I'm vulnerable in a relationship. I'm more respectful in a relationship. What you see me as in a boardroom versus me in a relationship is total opposites. You wouldn't even believe it.
Reference. But
now, how are you going to? That's why I'm saying that if reference is family, friends, whatever, yes. But in relationships, I'm a different person when I'm with you than when I'm with the next person, because you might bring out certain things in me.
Oh, this is not him, but my reference.
I'm telling you, no. But think about it this way. Like right now, you're saying you're free in your relationship, you've got freedom, blah, 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 based on the other relationship you felt contained.
No, I
and you
didn't say
felt
that.
kept. No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So, and that's why you're not in it. And maybe you felt contained. So I can't go and ask a person where you couldn't be yourself in that relationship about the you that you are in now. I might be talking to somebody now that brings out the best in me, that listens. And now in a relationship, I want to learn from someone. I want us to learn from each other. There must be something that I'm taking from this relationship. It mustn't just be about us holding hands and looking nice and, having intimacy and whatnot together. It must be a whole round. So that's why for me, I don't think I like to waste my time like that. Like, when I clearly can see the biggest, so that's why I'm saying it's different values and different qualities for different individuals. For you, it might be time. This person gives me their time. This person comes to my rugby matches. For me, it's the small little things that you say you're going to do, and you end up not doing it.
Yeah.
It's be careful what you say. Be careful the type of promises that you make. You know, because for you it might be a small little thing, but you
for
do it
you,
the
it's-
second time, you
it's
do it the
huge.
third time. So communication essentially is key.
Shut it down. We don't have enough time, man. If you guys think we should go for longer, which I think it's almost obvious that we do, please join us next time. I think in the spirit of time, dope conversations, we out.